Hello everybody, just Crypto Buzz here, giving another update. This time Ethereum, love it or hate Ethereum. Ethereum's done really well over the last 12 to 18 months. Currently trading just under $2,700. I just thought I'd make a couple of observations. Once again, I keep it brief, keep it pretty sharp. First off, I just thought I'd cover Ethereum's price history going back to prior to 2016. You can see the ebbs and flows of Ethereum. It's clearly a little bit more aggressive from a logarithmic point of view than Bitcoin. But either way, it follows the same ebbs and flows as Bitcoin in terms of the general trend. You can see we ride the bottom band, the main multiple band, all the way to the top at our peak. And once again, we go right underneath, actually fall underneath the blue band. Okay, and then we rally deeper into the upper bands, back below the 200 moving average, and then back above. That's pretty much where we peaked out last May. Then obviously we had a slightly higher high, in sort of October, November 2021. Since then we're on a downtrend. I suspect in time we will be testing and going lower than the blue May multiple band here. One thing I can probably draw your attention to, it's pretty standard stuff, but you can see, back in 2017 and 18, really the key loss of a certain level led to further downside, and I think, in short, we're not far from that now. I'll show you briefly here. So, just put a line through there. You can see we got above that with volume, a nice engulfing candle straight on. We tested it as support again, rallied all the way to the top, red, made a multiple band, all the way back down to find it as support. It's made a lower high here, and then actually we broke through it. We tested it again as resistance, and then obviously there was further downside of at least 6 months. And in each, at least 4 of the 6 months, we were well below the blue May multiple band. So turning to sort of more recent price action, I think we've got a similar scenario. I've done it really loosely, but I'll zoom in a bit here. You can see essentially, like before, we had some pretty big, strong engulfing candles here. We made our top at the red multiple, at the May multiple band. We found support on it. We rallied again. And then obviously we've dropped again, found support on it, and we're currently riding it. At the moment, we are pretty much testing, obviously, a very basic, rudimentary kind of line that I put in there, but you can see the general trajectory. If patterns are similar, if history repeats a little bit, we probably do have some more significant downside to come. So if I zoom in a touch on the weekly chart, you should be able to see that a little bit more clearly. Back here, you can probably see where we found support clearer, and then obviously where we topped out and found resistance, and then we made a lower high, and then actually we found resistance here. Then you can see that we actually held the blue May multiple band as resistance, and that's really where you had your capitulation and obviously resistance again, and then obviously we traded it going into 2019 band by band effectively, found support on the yellow and topped out on the orange band. Alright, so in terms of more recent price action, it's clearly not the same, but there are similarities worth mentioning. There's definitely less aggressive sharpness on these. We see more rounded behavior and more rounded price action here. However, I do think the core pattern still remains. Move it down a touch, you can clearly see that the bands are now slightly pointing downwards. At this side, we were pretty similar. At the point of breaking that trend line, we were pretty much curling downwards as well. I do think this is probably, I think this region here is probably the flattest part of the May multiple bands, and I think these start curling down, and in turn, the blue, band at the bottom, we find resistance on it. So yeah, in short, that's really my outlook for Ethereum. It's not particularly bearish. I think there's going to be great buying opportunities in the next few months, or heading in towards Christmas 2022. In terms of key levels that I am watching, clearly there is support in this region. I do think it is I do think it's strong support, but actually I do think it's only very recent. It only dates back to back end of 2020, going into 2021. A very important level. I do think we retest that. I do think we do have a good bounce from there, potentially back up to retrace back up to the 3,000 level, only to come back down and actually break this level. I would say that occurs in the next few weeks and months. The main level that I'm actually watching is actually the prior peak, and you can see that there is some strong market structure here dating back to 2018, and obviously back end of 2020 going into 2021. I do think this level does get tested. Could it go lower? Of course it could go lower. You know, and if you, I don't know, I'll try and do it rough and readily, but if you follow these bands down going into November, and these bands down going into December, you can see that actually if it was to play out in a similar vein, it may be the case that, you know, once we get under it, we do see resistance against the blue bands, only to have an accumulation bottom and then work our way back up going into 2023 and 2024. For that reason, I do foresee some activity below this level. You know, in terms of calling out targets, it's probably more difficult to provide a guide for, but there is certainly pretty good market structure around this level, based on price action late 17 and early 18, and obviously that's really where it found resistance on the dead cat bounce in April 18. So I do think that's really what is on the cards. I do think once again dips like this will be bought up heavily, as much as people, once we are around these levels, people will be calling for $300. Obviously $300, $350 is the solid market structure zone here. This is really where most of the action took place. Found resistance here, back tested it as support. If there was an absolute key level, you know, which you know, it is for Ethereum's ultimate bottom, I do think it'll be in this region. I just can't see it going that low. And if I go back in time and scroll a bit further back, you can see here we didn't quite get below it. So there's definitely a zone, definitely a range here, that a range of accumulation. And in short, it's pretty much from the 1700 level down to the $800 level. I'd certainly set buys there, and be patient. You know, no one really knows how long this will play out. My estimations are not too dissimilar from the past. I do think we've still got at least 4 to 6 months of downside to come. I do think most of the heavy selling will occur once we decisively break below this upward sloping trend line. And that's really what I'm looking at this stage. In terms of the heat map, just so you know, it follows a similar path. I don't believe that we are oversold on a macro level. I do think that we're already seeing some accumulation here, but I do actually believe we've got further downside to go to get into deeper, more oversold levels on a weekly basis. You know, which offers and provides for a full reset on sentiment, a full reset on price, and deeper accumulation that is then allowed to take place. But that's all for now on Ethereum. It's pretty standard stuff. It's what I'm looking out for, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again on the next video. Cheers everybody, bye.